This poem is, I think it's an older poem. It's like from, I think like 2013 or so. And it was like the first time I really was like I had discovered this kind of psychedelic style. And it was actually the first poem I read at an open mic. And so it's kind of dear to my heart. All right, so I'll just read it. Perception's fabric and exact strangeness, a deeper curl into question, crash into furniture. Who am I, competitively speaking? Dial tone, a pillow, lying down, airtight wooden planks extending, contracting my grip, sweat enters my head by my nose, a mountain rise of guts, my guts! Where my gender sprouts a discovery on ice, how these eyelids have always been massive. Ice ages. How much do we miss? Dial tone. A cigarette enters a fry later somewhere, competitively speaking. I am not what I really am. I'm flipping icebergers. I'm encompassing hypothesis. I'm circling the drain and the sink is disgusting and needs to be scrubbed with bleach. I'm lying down now. Still. The drift through the same old cross-sections of a melting iceberg is not really an iceberg. It's the drift. Through metaphor. The sun has always threatened to strobe at 24 days a second. The future post-dubstep drops, and others speaks, emerging from the dial tone.
Very nice.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to check this out. Yeah, this is good.
Yeah, thanks, man. I actually, you know what? I wrote that after a D&T trip, and I was trying to capture that feeling of just being completely incapacitated by a psychedelic experience. And I had conceived of it originally as like in this world that I had created. It was supposed to be like this kind of technology experience, but it really just ended up being a trip, I guess. But I don't know. What did you guys think? I shouldn't talk about it.
That was amazing, man. The way you read that was awesome.
Thanks, dude. Thank you.
Yeah, you have you just have such a great performance style. You just do so many different things with your voice. But the thing that really thing that stuck out to me, especially the second time you said it and the way that you said it the second time, was the phrase "competitively speaking." And so you have that coupled first with "Who am I?" and then second with "I am not what I really am." And so is it competition within or without?
I think when I was originally writing it, I was we have this self that is defined by competition with the outside world. So like you're really kind of looking to exploit yourself of like, when you say, who am I competitively speaking? Like, what do I have to offer to the world, or how can I be best exploited? So it's kind of cynical, I guess.
What's your economic value?
what's your economic value? But also there's a play. I don't know if you caught that, but there's a play on it. It says competitively speaking, and then he waits and it's dial tone. So as if the competition itself was speaking through the speaker. So if you say competitively speaking, it's like you yourself is that. Yeah, for sure. I guess that would be the answer.
Yeah.
Man, when I first performed this for an open mic, for whatever reason, you know what happened is like the open mic happened, but the people who came up were just so shy and everything like that like I was like ready to go and like, oh, I'll show these people what's up. And then for whatever reason, when I came up, like 15 other people had come in just then, and the room was packed. And I remember specifically, it was like the best performance like I've ever felt as like far as like euphoria, that euphoric of performance, in which like right before I paused, and I try to do that now, but I wasn't feeling it. But like I paused and I almost imagined a trip was flowing through me. Like, what if I was tripping right now? What if I was looking at this cup, for instance, and the cup was swirling and I was imagining that? And then I performed with that kind of imagination. And my performance then was like, like it was like people were really excited about it. And I was like, I've never had a performance like that. I don't even think the performance tonight was pale in comparison. I was reading half of it. I hadn't even memorized it, but yeah, if that's something to try. Next time you're performing, imagine that you're tripping and see, see what comes out of you,
Or just take a bunch of drugs.
Or actually get high.
Yeah, actually trip balls.
Yeah, serious. You know what? Like, I think it is interesting. I've experimented. Performance interests me. Singing interests me. As far as like present moment flow of like your subconscious and how you like create in the present moment. And if I've smoked weed, sometimes it's like I'm able to do things that I've never done before, that like I shouldn't know how to do, that nobody taught me, but like it just comes out only when I'm high. It's really strange. It's really strange what your mind's capable of.
Okay, so first of all, I've had to read this about 7-8 times to get my mind around it, and it's really impressive. Wow. But okay, one thing keeps jumping out at me, and it's the second to last line. An other speaks.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Why not another? Why an other? Man,
I think there's an alien quality to saying an other. And I think that's what I was trying to really, when you just say another, it's, it's almost casual, but when you do say an other, it produces that kind of question.
Cool.
Like,
okay.
Oh, he was like the other kind of guy.
Yeah.
Like,
and I think that speaks to the quality of having a real psychedelic trip, that the other beyond your mind that is omnipresent after the dial tone of your mind goes off.
Yeah, I could achieve that effect with also capitalizing other too.
Yeah.
That's coming to mind as well.
Yeah, but then the dial tone. Talk to us about the dial tone.
The way that I write, sometimes I write images and I'm keyed into certain ideas and they resonate to me and I don't know why. And that's actually one of those that's one of those things. The dial tone, it's interesting because often I'm writing in this kind of futuristic technology kind of world, but old technology speaks to me. I think like this dial tone is maybe like the white noise of life, perhaps. Mm-hmm. That's always kind of there, like that ringing in your ear, maybe, or when you're patiently waiting for something, when you pick up the phone and there's no one actually on the other line, and it's kind of like this sound of solitude, perhaps. But I'm just saying this in real time. I don't, I wrote this so long ago, I don't even really remember the intention, really. To be honest, it's just the effect. In the second
paragraph, you say, "Who am I, competitively speaking?" Dial tone, right?
Yeah.
Pillow line name. So I take this, this strangeness and everything, from the first paragraph, being, the drug kicking in, right? And then you dial tone, right? Dial tone, a pillow, lying down, right? You wake up. But then we go into the next one and you kind of do the opposite where how much do we miss? Boom, pass out dial tone. And then you're in the competitive world here, right? This is where I'd introduce a free later somewhat with competitive. So you went from, in the first one, you're competitively speaking, boom, dial tone. Then you come out of that dial tone again down here, competitively speaking again.
Yeah, competitively speaking, and then I'm flipping icebergers.
Mm-hmm.
So and then circling the drain and the sink is disgusting and needs to be scrubbed with bleach. It recalls I recall a workplace situation and a particularly low workplace situation. Like working at a fast food place or a restaurant or something like that. And that kind of ties into competition, and that, in this environment, you're kind of competing, perhaps. Also, the world maybe doesn't value you that much, kind of a thing. So I think this character that I'm of the speaker is kind of like, he seems like he's a young person in one of these kinds of jobs, and maybe he's going through this trip, and these are the issues that are on his mind. But also there's a double entendre there. Double entendre, really? I don't know. Maybe technically, flipping icebergers. He's flipping this frozen meat, but icebergs are also kind of like, the classic metaphor of the self, of that we only see the tip, and then the subconscious is this like deep kind of big object.
Have you ever thought it possible that someone might put this to music? Because these come across like the kind of lyrical, musical lyrics that we would all love and embrace and go apeshit over.
I would love to collaborate with a musician, and to try to perform and to give it my best for that. I've already collaborated with Hank Barnes. I use his music a lot in my video work, my video poems. But his stuff is very like kind of avant-garde. It's not like it's probably not the songs that you're thinking of. But I think also the challenge with poetry is that you don't have music, so you still have to try to get across tone and feeling without the help of music to do that.
But do you ever look at your lyrics from that perspective? Like, could ever be
I'm not a musician, so I don't when I read my work, I don't have music coming to me because I'm not a musician. But I would definitely be open to collaborate with somebody about doing something like that for sure.
From my own experience, I do this thing, and I kind of mentioned it in my thing. The Dead Spoken Word Society. I used to do these Dead Spoken Word mixtapes, and people will give me a poem that they read, and then I will put visuals and music. And the hardest part, or the most interesting part, was to have the music like complement because it's done separately, right? It's like someone sends me their spoken word poem, and then I have to like try to fix some music in the background that complements their performance. And for me, I find it interesting when you get it good and it's just subtle, but it helps to give more feel to it. But for a poem, like a straight poem like that, you don't want the background music to like overpower it either,
Yeah, it would be interesting. It'd be interesting to work with somebody like Future Humans, whose style is, it's very over the top and aggressive and like maxed out. And it'd be interesting if, like, I don't know, I was just thinking, like, I just love Future Humans. Like, he's such a great guy. But I mean, I would love to take it to other music. I don't even know the process of making a song, like how these musicians go about doing it. To be honest, I really don't know I wonder.
Anyone else get that?
Yeah. Well, I'm always thinking visually and musically because I do a lot of video edits. So I'm already trying to construct remixes in my head. So you'll see some attempts of that as we
Sweet.
go in the near future.
Cool. That's awesome.